Greetings, greetings. This is your girl, Dr. T, at Books by T. Welcome to this space on this evening. We are excited to welcome our guest for tonight, Miss Ebony Gibson, who will be joining us shortly. So while we wait for her to come on, it is a thankful Tuesday, a triumphant Tuesday. We thank God for another day on this side of glory. So welcome to this group. This is Grief and Depression Awareness. To all of our new members, welcome. We are happy to share in this space with you on tonight. And we are just waiting for our guests. So Ebony, if you can see the broadcast, let me know so I can bring you on. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this space. Happy New Year. Happy start of 2026. We are looking forward to what God would do in this space, in this group, and in our lives concerning grief. So again, we are just waiting for our guests tonight. And hopefully there won't be a whole lot of technical issues. But if you are here, say hello in the comments. Meet us in the comments. Let us know that you're here. Let me know if the sound quality is okay. You can hear us okay. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hi, Miss Deborah Allen. Welcome to this space. How are you? I see Miss Selena. Hello, hello. How are you? All right, so we're just waiting. So I don't want to introduce her and give you guys the wrong information. So I want her to be able to properly introduce herself. But I met Miss Ebony Gibson here in Washington, D.C. at a grief support group event that she hosted for grieving mothers who had lost children to gun violence. And she hosted it at, we have a restaurant here for all of those who's not familiar with Washington, D.C. Busboys and Poets is where the event was held. And I met some amazing women of faith who shared their story and shared their journey and also shared the glory of God in their life concerning the losses that they have faced with losing their children at such young ages. And so Ebony hosted the event, and it was great. It was really great to be in a space and in a room where people were learning, healing, and overcoming through their relationship with God. And one thing I've learned about grief is that if you put God in the center of it, then you can grieve with grace. And these women had some amazing strength after losing children Often we talk about the loss of a loved one. Many people in this group, especially, we have been talking about, we have widows in the group, we have people like myself who lost a parent. But I had not thought about parents that had lost children. And so this was a great space to be in. It was a phenomenal event. She has lots of things that she has going on. She created a university that she does workshops. She hosts different events in person and online. And she's just doing phenomenal things to support others on their journey to wholeness after facing loss. And so loss can be a number of things. If you've been in this space with us for the last 2 years, we know loss can be the loss of a job. Oh, there she is. So I can stop talking. Great.
Hi,
Yes, she's here. I'm excited so I can stop talking.
I've been here. I just didn't hit the request.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, we're just sitting here waiting and hopefully
Yes,
she'll
I'm
hop
here.
on.
I'm here.
Welcome, welcome, Queen. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you in this space to share what grief has been like for you and all the amazing things that you're doing in the community to support others that are dealing with any level of loss.
Yeah.
So, before, look, I've already attempted to introduce you, but before I
Okay.
say anything, look, I don't want to say anything else because I only know a little bit
Okay.
from what I've learned from. I started talking about, the grief event that you had at Busboys and
Mm-hmm.
Poets and things like that in the university. So I'm gonna turn the floor over to you. Feel free to reintroduce yourself
Okay.
and share what it is that God has laid on your heart to share with this space on tonight.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm super excited and grateful to be here. A little bit about myself. My name is Ebony Gibson. I am the founder and CEO of Can I Grieve and Mothers on Purpose. I'll speak more to Can I Grieve. So I don't know if you want me to like just go into my story or where you want me to go with it. But I guess I'll just say, a little bit about myself. So I am a soon to be author. I'm an entrepreneur, a business coach. And I'm really just passionate about grief. And just passionate about helping people start businesses and just moving forward after loss because there is life after loss. And I know everybody doesn't feel that way, and for some people, it seems like, they're never going to get there, but they are. And so I stand to be that voice to let them know you can get through this, you will get through this, and you don't have to do it alone. So,
Awesome, awesome. Yes, yes, yes. So yes, you can definitely just jump into your story. Like I started sharing a little bit, but I know your university and your platform was birthed after the loss of your mom. And
yes.
so you have similar stories because my platform was birthed after the loss of my father. And
Mm,
so I just thank God how He allowed me to connect with you and see what you are doing in the community and just being able to see what you're doing, support what you're doing, and now have you over here on this space with me.
yes.
Just a God thing, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I
So
didn't know
go
you before grief, but we connected through grief. And that's
exactly,
the beauty of grief, right? Two
exactly,
women who are still pushing forward after losing a parent. So, yes, I'm
exactly.
excited to be connected and aligned with you too. So, I will get into my story. So in 2020, in 2016, my bad. I graduated from Virginia State University, got my bachelor's degree in mass communications, and I thought I wanted to do like PR, or be on the radio, like talk show host. And I would say maybe less than 6 months after I got my bachelor's degree, my mother passed away unexpectedly. I was 22 at the time. I'm 31 now. And it was literally 2 days before my 23rd birthday. So I went from planning my 23rd birthday to planning a funeral. I had never lost anyone close to me before. So didn't know anything about grief. You know, I had lost like great grandparents, great aunts, great uncles, but never ever lost anybody super close to me. So I didn't know what grief was. I thought it was only, when you lose a loved one, but I didn't know there was stages. I didn't know it would be a roller coaster. I didn't know anything. So I just feel like I got bullied and I got pushed into grief, without no manual, and then the person who was my God in life, the person who gave me life, was no longer here. And so that was a journey, of course, that I had to, learn how to navigate. And it used to make me mad because, like I said, I was 22, about to turn 23. And I felt like I had to grow up, faster than my peers. I just
Mhm.
graduated college, like most college kids. You don't know what you want to do. Some people just get a degree to get a degree. And some people get a degree and can't even find a job, but you're still finding yourself. So to be in the midst of finding yourself and now losing your mom is like, now I'm just all confused. My whole world is upside down. And so fast forward, that took place in 2017, I'm sorry. A few years later, my grandfather passed away. And then I had a first cousin pass away. And so during that time, of course, I was still, navigating grief, learning about grief. And of course, each time we lose someone or something, it's different, right? The relationship is different. So I was navigating all of that. And one day, God just put on my heart, can I grieve? And I was like, I like it. It's catchy, right? Like, can I grieve?
Right.
And I was doing another company at the time. And so I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do both companies, right? Because I really love this other company. I was in a network marketing company. And I know a lot of times there's always like stigmatisms around network marketing and MLMs and things like that. But it was working for me. It helped develop me professionally as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, all of those things. So I was trying to figure out, well, how do I now do Can I Grieve? And so I sat on it for a little while. And then when I lost my first cousin in 2021, I was like, what can I do? So what started off as a nice gesture. So I literally started Can I Grieve making care packages. When I launched my business, I just got the LLC like most people. I didn't have no structure. I ain't had no business plan, no coach. I'm just doing stuff like most people do. And so I wanted to make something nice for my aunt just to say, I'm thinking of you. And so I literally bought a little box, like a little keepsake, and I put in like different things just to, again, let her know I'm thinking of you, I'm here for you, and just a nice gesture. When I gave my aunt the box, the care package, she literally was like, I want to get 10 more. And I'm just like, what in the world? Like, you're grieving. This is for you. What do you mean you want to get 10 more for like your employees and stuff like that? So anyway, I went along with it like, okay. And so fast forward, I started doing care packages. I started doing ornaments, t-shirts, all of these different things, like little keepsakes. And then I was like, I did not get in this business to be selling products. And it's funny because in a network marketing company I was in, we didn't sell products either. We sold services. So I'm like, God, this is not it. This is cool. I like, for people to have keepsakes and stuff like that, but I know it's more to it. And so after doing some coaching, mentorship, different things like that, I realized I wanted to be a grief coach, right? And I wanted to help people because I had went through my own therapy and I went through a program called Grief Share with my church, which I recommend for everybody, because it really just teaches you how God views death and how we should view it, from a biblical standpoint. And I don't know if anybody on here can relate to, being angry at God or mad at God, but that helped me a lot as far as my spirituality, and just made it stronger with God. And so anyway, went through that. And then Yeah, I was like, I want to be a grief coach. So I got certified back in 2022, 2023, something like that. And fast forward, here we are today. Recently launched a sister organization, Mothers on Purpose, for moms that lost children to gun violence. And that just came from an annual event that I created with Can I Grieve? Back in, what was this, 22, 23? It was, we're in the DMV area, if y'all don't know. And so there was a lot of homicides in DC, and what started out as just something, again, another nice gesture that I wanted to do because I seen so many parents losing their children. I started an annual boat ride, and that has grown to now me working with moms that lost children to gun violence with the new nonprofit Mothers on Purpose. And so um I find what I do therapeutic. I find helping other people walk through grief has also healed me at the same time. So when a lot of people be like, isn't it exhausting, and how are you able to do all this? It's a gift, right? And so that's a little bit about my story. Of course, I can always share more, but I'll just pause right there.
Did the sound go out?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, no, that's phenomenal. You have a dynamic platform, and what you're doing, like I said earlier, in the community is absolutely phenomenal for a young Christian Black woman. Okay, let's just
Yeah.
call it like it is. You a boss out
Hmm.
here, okay? Um, and we're literally we have so our stories are so alike. Like it's crazy because my dad passed away in 2014 and I was also in college and I was getting my bachelor's. And
Mm.
so I didn't actually finish my bachelor's until 2 years after he passed. And then in 2022, I lost two cousins that were like
Mm.
sisters to me. So literally, when I first started to hear you share your story, your testimony, I was just like, okay, wow. Like literally being able to, like you said, sit with someone and walk someone else through the journey and share our stories in hopes that we are being helpful.
Yeah.
It brings a different level of healing to us.
Right.
And I didn't know what that was or what that looked like before this group, before my
Mhm.
books, before, any of that. But God has us both in this space and in this um, journey for a reason.
Right.
However long the reason is, right?
Hmm.
And it's amazing to see that we understand that, yeah, grief is universal. Everybody goes through it, everybody will go through it, but how you grieve is what makes the difference.
Yep. So
And
true.
so you and I have chosen to grieve with purpose.
Hmm.
And we hope that whatever is shared on tonight is helpful to anyone. I'll share her contact information with you guys after the broadcast is over, so that you guys can connect with her. Even if you're not local, she does workshops. She has broadcasts and things of her own on her platform. She does Zoom workshops and a lot of things that she is doing. So I would share her information after the broadcast is over. But tonight is about you, Queen. So share whatever you would, you want, because they've heard my story. I've been in this space for now 2 years. I started the group totally focusing on grief, and then I wrote now 10 books later. Yeah, 10. So I've been using my story and sharing my story and learning about grief myself. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, there was no manual. There was no
Hmm.
manual for me either. No one told you how to grieve. No one told you what it looks like. I'm learning about new stages every day. Like I
Yeah.
think 2 years ago, there's a new stage called reconstruction or something. There's
Mhm.
like they say it's 5 stages, then it's 7 stages, then it's eight
Mhm.
stages, then 9 stages, and it's like what? But it's all a learning experience, and I think once I started to educate myself on what grief really was, it definitely made the difference in how to grieve in a, I say, a healthier way,
Mhm.
um, but also learning that we can grieve with God by our side.
Right. Absolutely. I think that like you said, everybody, and I don't even think we know, it's not a matter of it's just a matter of when, right? At the end of the day, it's something that we all can't escape, even our own faith, right? And so I think that grief is an individual journey. And I think it's great to be in relationships and in connection with other people who have been through what you've been through, but also to be mindful of the fact that yes, me and you, we both lost a parent, but that doesn't mean that we're going to grieve the same, right? Our relationship was different. You don't know my relationship with my mom. I don't know your relationship with your dad. So although we share the commonality of us losing a parent, how we grieve is going to be different. And I feel like sometimes people, get that confused, right? And I feel like even
Mhm.
in society, it is looked upon as, or it's like making people feel like they have to rush to
Right.
to navigate
Mhm.
grief, and that's really not how it is, right? And the people that do rush, they eventually get into a burnout stage and a crash out stage because they never really took the time to grieve. And so it's very unhealthy for people to allow other people to dictate how they should
How,
grieve,
right, and how long?
how long, what it looks like,
Yep.
because one, like I'm telling you, it looks different for everyone, but also there's no timeline. My mother, she'll be gone in February, it'll make 10 years, and each year literally looks different. Some years,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to say this like in the, like I don't love my mom or care about mom. Your mom is your everything for most people, right? And she was for me. But it's on some years, it's like I don't even realize the day, of her passing. And then there's other years where it's like it's just nonstop. Like I'm just not feeling like myself. And then I'm like, dang, it's coming up. The anniversary is coming up. And it just looks different. Different holidays, different birthdays, different monumental events that happen in your life. The grief is going to look different. It's never going to look the same. And so when we talk about manuals and learning how to grieve, yes, there are stages of grief, which I'll circle back to. Yes, there are books about grief, but at the end of the day, the only way to get through it is to go through it,
That's
right?
it.
And like I said, we have these manuals, but understand that the manuals are just guides. It's just a way for you to get a better understanding, right, of what it looks like and maybe different things that you can do. It's a tool, right? But we have to again be mindful that grief is going to be different for everybody. And I really don't like to educate my clients on the stages of grief. I educate them, but I don't, that's not like what I lead with, because at the end of the day, yes, there are different stages to grief, but people have to understand that throughout those different stages of grief, you might bounce through them, right? You might be in a denial stage, and then you move forward from that stage, and then you're in an anger stage, right? And then you're finally feeling like, okay, I'm at acceptance. Not necessarily I've accepted that this person is gone, but I'm accepting my new reality. I'm adjusting,
Mhm.
I'm adapting. Then you go back into the anger stage. So I always like to talk about the stages, but also let people know that you can go back and forth, and that doesn't mean that you are regressing and not progressing. It's just like anything in life. People that have addictions, right? They go to treatment and sometimes they relapse. That doesn't mean that they're not progressing. That just means they had a relapse. And it's the same thing in grief. So I think the biggest thing that I want to leave people with today is don't let people dictate your grief. Don't let people put a timeline on your grief. It doesn't matter if It just happened. If it's been 10 years, if it's been 20 years, at the end of the day, as long the only time people will literally stop grieving is if you wake up one day and you don't love that person no more. That's it. As long as you have love for this person or this thing that you've lost, you're always going to grieve about it. And then another thing that I want to touch on, right? Because I didn't know this was a thing until life started happening and I just started growing up. Like I said, prior to me losing my mom, I thought grief was only loss of a loved one. I had no idea that you can grieve over friendships. I had no idea that you can
Mhm.
grieve over relationships. I had no idea you can grieve over job loss, new health
Nope.
diagnosis, career changes, all of these different things that sometimes society doesn't validate. But I stand to be a voice that anything you go through in life that has disrupted, caused disruption, it has caused change, it has caused you heartbreak and hurt, it is valid. And you don't need anybody to validate it for you.
Right.
So those are just some key things, that I think of when I think about grief. Just not letting people put a timeline on it. Understanding that yes, there are stages, but it looks different for everybody, and that you can go back and forth through the stages. Just understanding that again, as long as there's love there, you always grieve, right? But I think it's about learning healthy ways to navigate the grief. And if you are not in a space where you feel like it's something that you can manage, then know that there are people like Tierra, people like myself that are here to assist you. There are support groups, there are communities, moms who lost children to gun violence, moms who lost children to fentanyl, just different communities. So you have to find your community. I always talk about finding your tribe. People that again can relate to what you're going through. They won't get tired of hearing the stories. They understand,
Mhm.
even if they haven't even experienced it, but they show up for you. Those are your people. And so I can't speak enough about leaning into your tribe and getting connected with the right people, because for me, my tribe was everything, and I don't think I know for a fact I wouldn't have been able to push through grief if it had not been for my family and friends. It was overwhelming, right? Like they always wanted to take me out to eat and let's go here, let's go there. But when I look back, I'm grateful, and I understand that not all the time do people have a tribe. And so again, these are just some of the reasons why I exist, right? To create that tribe, to create that safe space. But also another thing that I want to touch on, just understanding that in grief you probably will change your mind a lot. I cannot tell you guys how many times people reach out to me about getting help, and then I never hear from them again. And what I had to understand was, it's not a strike against me, it's not a strike against them, it's just grief. And some days you feel like you can push through on your own, other days you feel like you need support. And then the
Yes.
next day, you don't want to deal with it at all, And
Right.
so that's just that emotional roller coaster of grief. And going back to not letting society push you into things, a lot of times people try to fix us. And unfortunately, grief is not something that can be fixed. And so if you are someone who wants to support someone that is grieving, right? Don't pressure them into getting grief counseling or grief coaching, or like pushing them to do therapy and things like that. And I myself am a product of that. That's not something that I wanted to do 10 years ago. Why? Grief and therapy and mental health and all that, that's not something that is in our community. That's something that has become a trend and has become popular in the last couple of years, but 10 years ago, no. I don't want to talk to a specialist. I'm not crazy. There's nothing wrong
Right.
with me. I don't need to go to those things. Like, I'm fine. But what I've come to find over time, when you are ready, the right coach, the right therapist, the right community will be there for you. So
Mhm.
I know Minister Melissa is here. I wanted to see, she said something.
Yeah, she was on here.
is the model,
And
and
Miss
yes, it was
Washington
grief.
was on here last month.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody in the comments. It'd be hard to try to do these things and then look at the comments like, dang, what I miss? But I hope saying some things that people can relate to, that people can take away different nuggets. I'm always available for questions. If there's anything that you guys want to ask me, definitely put it in the chat. I would love to answer, to the best of my ability. If not, refer you, somewhere else. But yeah, grief is interesting. And I guess I'll just, I won't say I'll close with this, but because you can ask me questions too. But I will just say grief for me has been rewarding. I would give anything to get my mother back, but that's not an option that I have. And so with that being said, I have just chose to find my purpose after grief, and if I knew 10 years ago when I got this bachelor's degree in mass communications that I would be doing counseling and coaching, I went to school for that. I would have become a social worker. But how many people know you can have a plan, then here God go up and
Right.
uproot your whole plan, change your whole plan, but I'm grateful, and I'm one of those people that, like I said, I've been able to come out on the other side of grief. And I know everybody does not always get to the other side and they can't see the other side. And so grief can be rewarding. I always tell people it's all in how you decide to, and I won't say handle it, but it's all in how you decide to navigate it, right? Because like somebody said on here, grief does give you purpose. And I believe that everything that happens in life to us, it's physically happening to us, but it's not for us. And so it is our job whenever you get in a place of being able to share your story, right? Because that's always the hope. And, that's the godly thing to do, right? He doesn't put anything on us, like they say, that we can't, bear. And so there is somebody that needs to hear your story.
Your story, yeah.
Everybody has a story. And I remember somebody said to me a long time ago, everybody has a book in them. But I understand, it takes time, to come to a place where you can share your story. It takes time for you to build up the confidence, to even feel like my story matters. The situation that I went through, my grief and all of that is valid. Like, I understand all of these different things, but grief can be rewarding. It doesn't have to be the end of life. It doesn't have to be the end of your story. So just tap into, like I always tell people, instead of asking why did this happen to me, ask, what am I supposed to be learning from this?
Learning from it.
Who
That's
am I
it.
supposed to be helping from this? Nothing that you go through in life is on accident. The God that we serve doesn't do anything on accident. So there is a purpose in your life in general, but let's talk about grief. If you've been through something, you have a story and you have a testimony, whether you've overcome it now or you're going to overcome it. And there's somebody that is waiting to hear from you. A lot of people don't even realize that in grief. And that's why it's so important for you to put in the work to navigate grief, to learn and get the tools that you need, because there are people waiting to hear how you've overcome it
That's right.
so that they can overcome it too. Did I miss anybody in the comments? Okay, let's see. I'm grateful that I was familiar with therapy, but the work prior to months and stuff, it definitely helped me manage my emotions and unpack my grief. I love it. I love it. And I always like to tell people, when it comes to finding help and support, think of therapy like dating. Nobody stops dating after they have let's say a not so good outcome, right? Everybody keeps dating. It's just next, next, next. It's the same thing in therapy. Not everybody is going to be your person or for you, but you don't stop getting the help that you need. You just find the person that is here for you. And there are different platforms, psychology today, there's social media, there's no Facebook groups, communities. There is everything that you need is already here. And I'll just, wrap with this. If you put in the work, if you put in the work, you will see all that is in store for you. Grief is work. Doesn't matter how busy you are, doesn't matter how unbusy you are. Grief is work. And you can't ignore it. And you can't go around it. And you can hide from it, but it'll show up in your behaviors, how you respond to people, your relations, your irritation, your frustration. It'll show up. And eventually you'll be able to connect the dots that it's grief. And so put in the work, guys. Believe in yourself. Believe in your story. Know that you're here for a reason. And nothing in life happens on accident, even if it's not our outcome and what we would have wanted. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for sharing with us on tonight. That was a whole lot of amazingness. Okay. I be making up words. That's the educator in me.
I love it.
um, but I'm so honored that you said yes and that we were able to reschedule. We were supposed to do this in November.
Yes.
Our schedules were conflict, but we thank God that He saw fit for us to reschedule and share on tonight in this space in hopes that, like she said, do the work. We all have to do the work. It's a process, whether you go through 5 stages or 8 stages, 12 stages or 15 stages. Go through what you have to go through. The other side
Right.
of grief is you going through it. And no
Mm-hmm.
one can tell you how to go through it, what that looks like, because it is different for everybody. It is a shared experience, but it does not look the same and it does not show up the same for every individual.
That's
So
right.
we just thank God on tonight for the knowledge, the wisdom that Ms. Gibson has concerning grief and everything that she is doing and what she has dropped for us on tonight. I hope you guys took notes and feel free to connect with her. She is a member of the group. She's a part of this group. She's a part of this space. So we share resources. I've shared her book. She has a book out now. I've also shared that if you want to get a copy of her book. She mentioned her university is called Can I Grieve? So it's a lowercase I. If you search it, she has her personal page, Ebony Gibson. No, that's not. It's Ebony Lachey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then her business page is Can I Grieve? But the I is a lowercase I. But I'll go back and share all of that in the group once we end the broadcast so that you guys can connect with her. She is here locally, here in Washington, D.C. So we just thank God for your wisdom. We thank God for your story, your testimony. We thank God for your victory and what God is doing in your life. Keep up the amazing work that you're doing with grief and with the mothers who grieve and all of the things that you are doing. It is beautiful to see and it's beautiful to connect with like-minded women in faith that they're out here doing the same things that I'm doing, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing to have this community. So community is everything and healing does come through community. So thank
Absolutely.
you guys for joining us on tonight. We will be back next month. So stay connected, stay tuned. We look forward to continuing to bring resources and encouragement and just bringing hope and light in a topic that is so heavy and so dark. for many people. So thank you guys for sharing with us and joining us on tonight. We will meet you back next month. Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.